Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping into something really interesting today, thanks to the source material you shared with us. It looks like a blog post, maybe an article, all about Japanese fried rice noodles. Be fun, right?
That's the one, beef fun. Yeah, and it looks simple enough maybe on the surface, just another noodle dish. But this source, wow, it really digs into a pretty rich history,
Hmm.
a surprising cultural journey, actually.
Yeah,
And it's got some very timely relevance, too.
absolutely. So, our mission for this deep dive is to unpack all of that from the source, where it came from, how it sort of landed and changed in Japan, why it's suddenly getting popular again today, and, what really makes it tick.
Hmm.
Have you ever come across Japanese fried rice noodles before? You might be surprised, like we were, finding out how much story is packed into those thin little strands. Okay, let's get into it.
So first things first, what exactly is Japanese fried rice noodles, or beefun? The article defines it pretty clearly. It's
Hmm.
a dish based around stir-fried noodles, and crucially, they're made from uruchi rice flour.
Uruchi rice flour. Okay, that's key right off the bat. It's rice, not wheat.
Exactly. That's fundamental. The dish itself, the idea, comes from Fujian province in China originally. But the common way you find it in Japan involves stir-frying these really extra thin noodles.
Right.
And you cook them with a mix of things, vegetables, maybe some meat, dried shiitake mushrooms are classic, dried shrimp too, pork. The whole point is that those noodles soak up all that savory, that umami flavor from everything else.
And the source mentions it's pretty common in Taiwanese restaurants in Japan.
It is, yeah, a real staple there.
Yeah.
And that rice flour thing, it's actually becoming a big deal for a totally different reason now,
Yeah.
because it's rice, not wheat.
Well,
It's getting a lot of attention as a gluten-free option.
okay. So safe for people with wheat allergies then.
Genuinely safe, yeah. It's a natural fit, so it's finding this whole new relevance.
Beyond just the taste.
Precisely. And the article also talks about the texture. It calls it a unique sticky texture and how well those noodles grab onto the flavors. That's a huge part of the appeal, apparently.
Okay, got it. Rice-based, great flavor sponge, distinct texture. But how did this dish, Chinese origin, came via Taiwan? How did it become, a thing in Japan? Let's dig into the history the source lays out. It wasn't always common, was it?
No, not at all, not for a long time. The article tells us the first time fried rice noodles really showed up publicly in Japan was, get this, at the 5th National Industrial Exhibition in Osaka, way back in 1903.
Wow, 1903. That's quite the introduction. Over a century ago.
Yeah, it was presented there as like a Taiwanese specialty, and you could actually go eat it at a restaurant near the exhibition. But it didn't really explode in popularity then. That came much later, after World War II.
And the article connects that to Japanese folks returning home, repatriates.
Yes, exactly right. People who'd lived in Southeast Asian countries, they'd gotten used to eating fried rice noodles there, developed a taste for it, and when they came back to Japan, well, they missed it.
Demand creates supply.
Pretty much. This created a gap in the market. So in 1950, a man named Kenman Takamura, he was actually from Taiwan, set up a business in Kobe, specifically to make beefun for these repatriates who are asking for it.
Kenmin, that name sounds familiar.
It should. Kenman Foods, that company he started, they're the ones who launched instant fried rice noodles back in 1960.
Ah, the instant version.
That's huge.
Mhm.
Massive step. That really cemented beefun's place. It went from being this niche thing, maybe an exhibition food, to something you could find in regular households across Japan.
Mm,
A real journey.
that's a really fascinating path. But okay, the article you shared also mentions a recent popularity surge. If it's been a household thing since the 60s, what's driving this new buzz right now?
Well, the article points to two big things happening today. Growing health consciousness
Mm.
and the impact of the pandemic.
Health consciousness, does that tie back to the gluten-free thing you mentioned?
Absolutely.
Mm,
Spot
mhm.
on. There's this huge focus now on gluten-free eating.
Mm.
And since beefun is made from rice flour, just standard non-glutinous rice flour, by the way,
Yeah.
it just fits perfectly. So it's being looked at, again, not just as tasty noodles, but specifically framed as gluten-free food, diet food, even sort of healthcare food, or allergy-friendly.
That kind of rebranding or maybe reawareness makes a lot of sense today. Okay, and how did the pandemic play into it?
Well, with people spending so much more time at home,
Yeah.
right, lots more home cooking, and folks were looking for meals that were, well, easy to make, didn't cost a fortune, and felt reasonably balanced, nutritional.
Makes sense.
And the article calls out Kemen's instant version specifically here. Cooks in just 3 minutes, one pan, relatively low cal, designed to be pretty balanced. That combo was just perfect for what people needed then. And get this, the article says sales for that line jumped 13% compared to the year before.
Wow, 13%. That's a serious jump.
It really shows how it hit the spot, right? And the company even got creative with getting it to people. They installed the industry's first frozen fried rice noodles vending machine in September 2021.
Hold on, a vending machine? For frozen beef on, that's
Yeah.
definitely modern.
It tells you something about the demand, doesn't it? The article sums it up nicely. The popularity now is this mix of like how easy it is, how it fits with health trends, and just how it meets these different modern needs, especially for busy people or families.
Okay, so ease and health are big drivers now. But what about just the dish itself? Setting aside trends, what makes it intrinsically good? What's the core appeal, according to the article?
Right, good question. The article breaks down that core appeal into a few key strengths. First up, easy preparation and superior convenience. We sort of touched on this, but yeah, you can whip it up really fast at home, just stir frying,
Quick and easy.
especially the seasoned Japanese types. Often you don't even need to pre-boil the noodles, just chuck everything in the pan.
Like a one-pan meal, almost.
Exactly. Plus it comes dried or frozen, so it keeps really well. Great for stocking the pantry or freezer for those busy nights. And because you cook the meat and veggies right with the noodles, it easily becomes a pretty balanced meal without much fuss. Fits that modern need, authentic taste, minimum cooking time.
Convenience is definitely huge. Okay, what's number 2?
Variety of flavors and fun to arrange. So the flavors have been kind of adapted for Japanese tastes, mostly soy sauce based, the article says, but you also find salty versions, curry versions.
Curry beef fun. Interesting.
Yeah, and apparently it's super versatile for home cooking. The article mentions the standards, like pork or seafood, but also people getting creative with things like kimchi or even corned beef.
Kimchi beef fun. That does sound kind of wild.
Right, and curry is apparently really popular, just adding curry powder or maybe some oyster sauce. The course even mentions that pro chefs have developed specific little tricks for home cooks, like steaming dried shrimp in their own juice first to get maximum flavor before adding them.
Well, that's a neat tip.
Yeah. It suggests this kind of homegrown adaptation makes it potentially really interesting for foreign visitors, too, seeing how it's evolved in Japan.
That versatility is definitely appealing. Okay, what's the third strength the article highlights?
It loops back, again, to health consciousness and compatibility with modern lifestyles. We talked about gluten-free, right? Major plus, safe for wheat allergies. But the article adds more. It mentions non-fried versions,
Non-fried. How do they make those?
often using hot air drying instead of frying in oil,
Right.
so lower in fat, obviously. But also, and this is interesting, they're low GI.
Low GI. What's that mean exactly?
Low glycemic index. Basically,
Mhm.
foods that release energy slowly. So, better for stable blood sugar, sustained energy, maybe helpful for weight management.
Ah, I see. So not just less fat, but potentially better energy release, too.
Right. And the article also frames it as just a great vehicle for vegetables. The noodles pair well, soak up flavors.
Hmm.
It reinforces that pandemic reevaluation idea. Low-calorie, balanced meal for home time. Satisfying, but still feels, health conscious.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, before we talk about trying this out, the article does something really useful. It clarifies the difference between rice noodles and vermicelli, because they can look pretty similar, can't they?
Oh yeah, they can look almost identical sometimes. But they're fundamentally different, and the article breaks it down well. The key thing starts with the ingredients. Rice noodles, like we said, uruchi rice flour, got to be over 50%. Vermicelli, though, that's made from starch. Could be pea starch, mung bean, potato, even citrus starch.
Completely different base then. Wow.
Totally different. And that changes the manufacturing process, too. For rice noodles, you mix the flour and water, knead it, shape it, and then you dry the noodles. Vermicelli, mix starch and water, form really thin strands, and then you boil them.
Drying versus boiling, that must make a huge difference in the final texture.
It absolutely does. Texture is another key difference the article points out. Rice noodles tend to have this moist quality, and you get flavor from the rice itself. Vermicelli, the texture really depends on the starch. It can be sort of crunchy, like glass noodles, or more glutinous.
And what about nutrition?
Yeah, this is a big one, according to the source.
Yeah.
Rice has protein, right? So rice noodles made from it actually contain protein. Vermicelli, since it's just starch, which is a carbohydrate, doesn't really have protein.
That's a really clear distinction.
Yep.
Okay. They might look alike in the bag, but ingredient, process, texture, nutrition, totally different things. Good to know.
Now, the article doesn't just talk about making it at home. It mentions some pretty famous restaurants, too. So this isn't just home cooking, is it? What does the source tell us about finding really good beef fun when you're out?
Yeah, it definitely highlights that restaurant scene. It gives a few examples that show the range.
Uh,
First, there's a place called Bifun Higashi in Tokyo. The article calls it the Holy Land for Bifun
the
fans.
Holy Land. Okay, that's serious
Tells
dedication.
you something, right? It's got this long history, apparently back to the Meiji era, roots in Taiwan, and they are dedicated. The article says they only serve Bifun at lunchtime. That's it.
Wow, just be fun for lunch. Yeah. And specific kinds, baked style, soup style, options like regular gomoku, which is like mixed ingredients, and apparently a famous crab ball beefun, topped with crab and fluffy egg.
Crab ball Bifun. Okay, that sounds amazing. I can see why people make the trip.
Apparently it's been a hit with celebrities, even royalty. Lines still form every day. Then, switching cities, there's Ajisen in Nagoya. They're mainly known for Taiwanese ramen, actually. But their beef fun is apparently really well respected locally. The article describes it as authentic Taiwanese flavor, affordable prices, gets its taste from a broth with dried shrimp and shiitake, has this unique meat miso, sounds really flavorful. This is just trying it with their famous garlic Taiwanese ramen.
Get the full experience. Makes sense. And the last one mentioned.
Shinsekai Beidel Ram Night in Fukuoka. This place is supposed to capture the vibe of a Taiwanese food cart, like a yatai.
Oh, I love that atmosphere. Sounds great.
Me too. The article says they cook the noodles super fast over high heat, crucial for getting that perfect texture and aroma. The flavor is described as balancing authentic Taiwanese notes, rich pork, sweet veggies, maybe shrimp, but just slightly tweaked for Japanese tastes.
Nice balance.
And the article even mentions the setting adds to it, suggesting pairing it with, like, hot sake or maybe a Qingdao beer. Gives you that extraordinary feeling, almost like you're in Taipei at night. Sounds like a spot for both newcomers and serious fans.
Those examples definitely make you want to try it in Japan. So, if you are visiting, how does the article suggest a foreign visitor can best experience this dish?
It gives a few angles for visitors. First, just enjoy the authentic taste and texture. It really stresses that unique Japanese adaptation, that slightly sweet soy sauce base. We talked about how it's different from, say, pad thai or pancit, even though it shares roots. And again, the gluten-free aspect is a big plus for many international travelers.
So, recognize it as its own distinct Japanese thing, not just generic noodles.
Exactly. Second, experience the Japanese way of eating and arranging it. Sure, stir fries and soups exist elsewhere, but the article points to things like using seasonal Japanese seafood or local veggies or having it in a specific soup style as particularly Japanese ways to enjoy it.
Connecting to seasonality, like so much Japanese food.
Right, it links it to that whole culture of enjoying what's fresh.
Yeah.
The article also touches on the cultural experience around the meal visitors maybe noticing or learning greetings like itadakimasu before eating and gochi-sasama after, seeing those as part of the unique Japanese food experience.
It's about the whole picture, not just the plate.
Definitely. And third, cooking experience and food culture exchange. This is interesting. The article suggests taking a cooking class. Because beef fun is relatively easy to make, it's a great way for visitors to get hands-on and understand the food culture better.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, it frames it as a real cultural exchange. It even suggests that in a class, you could tailor seasonings, maybe make it a bit lighter for European tastes or richer for Americans, enhancing the experience and showing how versatile it is.
Adapting it, making it even more accessible.
And comparing it with other Japanese or Asian dishes in that context could really show visitors how food evolves, how diverse Japanese cuisine is, even with dishes that came from elsewhere originally.
Sounds like a really rewarding way to connect.
Hmm.
But like you said, travel isn't always on the cards. The article does mention enjoying it at home, right? Is that pretty achievable now, wherever you are?
Oh, absolutely. The article definitely confirms that. Enjoying beef fun at home is super easy now, partly because, yeah, it's simple enough to cook from scratch if you can find the noodles, but also because there's so many convenient options available now.
Especially the frozen ones, right? For busy days.
Exactly. Lifesavers for busy days. The article even names specific examples you might find in stores, like Kenmin cooked rice noodle with 8 types of vegetables, or a curry version from Skylark Bamiyan. So yeah, you can definitely bring that taste home pretty easily these days.
Well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? How much history, cultural blending, and modern relevance is all wrapped up in what looks like, well, a simple plate of fried rice noodles.
It really is. It's a great example of how foods travel, how they change when they land somewhere new, and how unexpected things like health trends or, global events can suddenly shine a new light on something traditional. And those little details, like using rice flour instead of starch, They make such a difference.
Thank you so much for bringing this source material to us. It's been incredibly insightful to unpack it all.
My pleasure. It was really interesting to explore. Just reminds you, doesn't it? There's often a whole backstory behind even the most familiar-looking foods.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, here's a little something for you, the listener, to chew on. Think about some of the comfort foods you know and love. Could they have hidden histories, unexpected cultural journeys, maybe even surprising health angles you've never considered? And think specifically about bifun in Japan. What really stands out to you about how this dish adapted, how it became such a well-loved and still evolving part of the food scene there? Keep asking those questions, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.